What's up, everyone? Welcome back at the Artist Coaching Podcast. And I have to, I think I have to let you guys down because this time it will just be me, all by myself. Yep, just me on this Wednesday because Jay is enjoying his holiday with his family, and Ralph is still on a holiday as well. So it will just be me today. I will be answering a lot of your questions. I saw a lot of questions coming into the Discord, and there might be a few more here in the chat. So we'll see what we can do today. And yeah, let's just see how things go. It will be just me, like old school, right? I see the first people coming into the chat. What's up, Ben Singh, the first to comment. Josh is here. Mr. Josh Letiche did a feedback session yesterday in our community. And I saw a lot of great responses. Actually, he was lurking to the chat. I'm not sure if he noticed, but I was watching the chat, how people were responding. He did a great job, and I think people were very happy with getting feedback on a track from someone who knows what he's talking about, because I think that's the problem for most producers out there. Maybe you guys can agree with me, but what I hear a lot is that a lot of producers struggle to get feedback, professional feedback actually, because they can ask their friends, they can ask their mother, they can ask any other family member. But the problem is those people don't necessarily know what they're talking about. It can be good feedback though, because they're very objective and subjective. Sorry, because those people don't have any knowledge about music at all. Like they just listen to how a regular person listens to music, and that's valuable as well, because that's a skill that we as music producers tend to lose over time. The more we produce music, the more we dive into this world and figure out all the technology and all the skills and all the tips and the tricks, the further we go away from being able to listen to a song objectively. So that's why it can be valuable to go to your aunt or to your sister or your brother and ask for feedback. But in most cases, producers are looking for professional feedback from someone who knows what he's talking about. And we started doing those feedback sessions, I think, monthly from now on in the Discord. And yesterday was Josh's turn. So yesterday, Josh was live to listen to your guys' tracks and provide you with feedback. And I can already see Grey Max was part of it, and he said that was super helpful. So thanks for joining. I see Gerard Francis back in the chat. Ascenzo's here again. Israel Carter's here. Bit3, Lion Harris, all the familiar names. It's great to see. By the way, I just uploaded the episode of last week, because there were some problems with the rendering. So it's been a week late. Sorry for that. But if you have missed it and if you would like to see the full production, it's on the YouTube channel right now. What's up, Luca? Good to have you here. So yeah, as I said, it's just going to be me today. If you already have a question that's burning on the tip of your tongue, feel free to drop it in the community Discord, or if you're right here in the chat, you can also drop it there. I'll read it afterwards. And as Lion Harris mentions, I can actually check, because it keeps going up and down. To be honest, it's always like when you're at that point. Yeah, we have 1K. We have 1K subscribers on the YouTube channel, and yeah, a little bit of applause. And to be honest, that's all because of you. That's all you guys. 10K, well, not 10K, 1K people on the YouTube channel, and I'm very happy with it. I know for most people it might be small numbers, but I'm very happy with it, because I'd rather have small numbers and dedicated people than big numbers and nobody cares about what we do or who we are. So I appreciate you all. I see all the names coming in every week. I see the Discord. I see the engagement in the Discord going up every week. And that's what I love to see, that people help each other. And it's not just me or Ralph or Jay, but also you guys all together helping each other in this journey of being an artist. So as Ben Singh says in the chat, quality, not quantity. Yeah, that's It's actually a good point maybe to touch on, because that's really something I have been very deep on in the last few months. I've been really focused on building into depth, so more focusing on the quality over the quantity, because I just don't believe that big numbers are that value anymore. Like, sure, it helps if you have a lot of people liking you, but having a lot of followers is just not that valuable anymore, simply because the algorithms changed. So I'd rather have a small group of people who are super dedicated and who appreciate what we do, who take value from what we do, uh, and who feel at home in the Discord and in these live sessions, for example. And during the real events we do, like during ADE, for example. Later today, we have a pizza session here at the office with clients, where people, like artists, come in and just have pizza and talk with each other. And it's like all these things to bring all the producers from all over the world together. And I think that's something that is underrated. I think it's something most people tend to forget. Most producers are focused on getting big numbers. But when it comes down to your fan base, it might be very smart to start thinking about the relationship you have with your fans. So consider focusing less on the numbers and more on the relationship you actually have with your audience. And with that, I mean, do you spend time with your audience like this? Like, do you do live streams? Do you talk with people? Do you spend time with your audience and share your stories and share your journey? Or are you just sending out reels and TikToks and shorts and don't really interact with the comments or any person at all? Because I do believe that building a relationship with a fan is becoming more and more relevant these days, and you should spend a lot of time on that, to be honest. And going live is a great way to do it, but if you don't like doing that, there's a lot of other options out there that you can do. But eventually, interacting with people, building that relationship, is an essential thing you should be focusing on as an artist. Um, Israel Carter asks, "Who was the first big DJ who gave you great feedback, Joey?" Um, I'm not 100% sure, but I kind of feel like that was Lebeck Luke. Um, because as you might know by now, like, he had this big forum back then where a lot of artists that you still know today, like Afrojack, Avicii, all these guys were on that forum. Martin Garrix as well, I believe. Um, and it was kind of like, it was kind of similar to what we are doing here at artist coaching. Like, it was just a place on the internet where music producers came together, especially EDM producers, and connected. I was part of that as well, so Luke was very active on that as well. And I think Luke was one of the first persons who as like a bigger name, gave me feedback on my music. But as I said, I'm not 100% sure, but I kind of feel like that was the thing. Um, Obviously, Hardwell was one of the persons, like the bigger names, who gave me feedback. Nicky Romero as well. I spent quite some time with him. Um, Bassjackers, of course. Like, we've grown up in the same city. We started DJing in the same city in the same era, so we all knew each other. Um, so yeah, there were a lot of people who are bigger names now, but back then were like starting out just like I was. So it's really yeah, I'm not sure, but let's say Lebeck Luke was the first one. I actually got a nice gift. Let me get it. Let me get it. One of my friends, he likes music as well, and he was record shopping online, and with record I mean vinyl. And he texted me and he said, like, I bought you something as a surprise, and he actually bought me this. It's a vinyl from Layback Luke's track called "I Need Your Loving," and then if you look, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's my remix together with Epster, and Yeah, it's very fun because I still remember when Luke asked me to do that remix together with Epster, and I was just blown away. Like doing a remix for such a big name, and yeah, it was super fun. He played a track of ours, and he really liked that track, and he asked us to create a remix in kind of in the same sound. And now, like, what is it? Probably 15 years later, I receive the vinyl. It's very fun. It's like old school. Anyway, um, hope you guys have been doing well in the past few weeks. As last time as well, like if there are any updates that we've missed, please let us know. A few things have happened over time. Um, there's a small thing here. Like I saw Swedish House Mafia launched a demo drop on their own label. I'm not sure if you guys knew, but they have their own label called Superhuman. It's pretty fun to see more and more artists starting to build their own labels. I really think that that's part of the trend, to be honest, as in part of the trend of being like taking ownership of your own music and your own fan base. One of those trends that we've talked a lot about before as well. Um, and I think doing things like this, that they also, let me check if I found that email because I thought that was very smart as well. They also send out an email, but this is more for the artists who already have an email list or some sort of fan base. I made a screenshot of it. Let's see if it's still here. No, it's gone. They send out an email to their email list asking like, "Hey, we are planning to play all over the world. Please let us know where you are." And that's a good strategy, I think, because now you gather a lot more data about your audience. Like, where is your audience located? Because yes, Spotify gives you some data, and yes, you kind of know where your listeners are, but not necessarily where the real fans are. So sending out an email with a question, to me, was a smart tactic. So that's something you can learn from if you already have a fan base, because not everyone already is at that part, obviously. You know what? Let's just instantly dive to the questions because I saw there were quite a few. Community questions. As always, we take on community questions that can be sent in to our Discord community. So if you're not part of that community yet, make sure to join that community because it's a vibrant area with already over 700 by now, 700 music producers and DJs from all over the world. If you're not part of that Discord yet, make sure to go and click on the description of this episode, and the link should be the first thing you see, actually. So just click on it, join, and you can join one of the live feedback sessions that we do there. You can join the Q&As. You can just send in music for feedback from other people. You can discuss about anything music related, to be honest. So if you're looking for a home, if you're looking for a place where like-minded people hang around and actually understand what you mean when you say my threshold is not as low as it should be, you're more than welcome. Okay, let's go to the first question. Let me just scroll a bit up here. Oh, that's a long one. It's actually quite a long one. Let's just take all these questions. We have the time. This is a question from Stefan Mijic. Stefan Mijic. I think I'm pronouncing that well. Can you guys devote a few episodes to shine light on the business part of being an international DJ and producer? Let's say your music has proven numbers on streaming services. You kind of figured everything out, your genre, your sound, everything. And now, how do you step into being an international DJ to earn from what you love? And now a set of questions come. But before I go into that, this is a very interesting point because I do believe that this is a point where a lot of artists get stuck on, especially nowadays. Because getting bigger numbers on streaming services like Spotify, for example, is not that hard, to be honest. Like, sure, millions is hard, but if you're being consistent, if your music is good, eventually all those numbers will compound and the numbers will grow over time. So time is kind of your biggest enemy here. So but I do believe that over time the numbers will become significant. Now, if you release your music yourself and the numbers becoming significant, you actually can start to build an income from those streaming numbers. The problem is here, and this is why I think it's interesting. Most artists who have big numbers on Spotify do not necessarily get booked. In a matter of fact, most of the artists who have big numbers don't get booked. And the reason for that is that they don't have a fan base. Like, yes, their music gets streamed a lot, but most people stream music like unconsciously, as in they just play it on the background. They have no idea what's playing, whose track it is. They just enjoy the playlist that they clicked on, and that's about it. So you're not necessarily building a fan base, and this is where the disconnect comes in, because you feel like you're doing great, which you are obviously, but your fan base is not growing as rapid as you want to, because you're not reaching the same people every time. They're not aware of who they're following. They're not aware of who they're listening to. So your task is to make those people aware of the fact that that is you. Now, Spotify is a hard place to do that, but you can do that on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts. So you should start making content to make people aware of the fact that you are doing great. People actually like your music. Numbers are up there. And now you want to get people in and build a relationship and a connection with them. So content is the key. If your numbers are up, but your fan base isn't, the content is the key. So let's dive into the set of questions that Stefan sent into. How to get in contact with booking managers and sell yourself as a valuable artist. What KPIs do they want to see? Well, the fact that you mention KPIs tells me you're kind of business minded. KPI stands for key performance indicator, and it's, you could say like, okay, maybe the following account could be a key performing indicator where those people look at. But to be honest, you can get in contact with bookers, you can get in contact with managers. Like, sure, you can send out emails, but the problem is those people actually have to come to you. And what I'm trying to say is, as long as you're not making money, you're probably not interesting enough for them, because they make money on you, as in they make money in a percentage based in most cases. So managers and bookers are not interested in artists who are not making money from it yet, so who haven't managed to build momentum and who've not spent the hours and the time to build a decent sized career for themselves that they can amplify, right? Because I do see managers as people that can amplify careers, but building, like starting a career, is something most artists should do for themselves. And I'm kind of generalistic here. It's not like all managers are like this, but most managers and bookers are like this, especially booking agents. Like, if you don't have a brand, if you don't have a fan base, it's gonna be hard to sell. So a booking agent is probably not going to be interested in you if you don't get booked, if you don't have a fan base. So make sure that if you are trying to reach out to booking agents or managers, that you already have those things. Like, there is a fan base, there is something to work on, something to build. And look at those people as amplifiers and not necessarily the gatekeepers in order to build your career, because that's something you can do by yourself. Question number 2, how do you handle payouts from the gig and how to avoid being screwed by bad people? If you do the payouts and if you do all the billing yourself, which probably is the case in the beginning of your career, it's actually smart to think about this, because I think a lot of people might get screwed over this. If you sometimes get screwed by people, you want to get the payment before you actually do the gig. And this is something most artists might be afraid of asking, because they are afraid to lose the gig, for example. But it's not weird at all to ask for money, like being paid upfront, especially if you have to make costs. So if you have to travel, if you have to take the car and pay for the gas, if you have to fly, or if you have to book a hotel or whatever, if you have to make costs in order to do that booking, you want to get the money up front. And that's what professional booking agencies do as well. Like, if you have a booking, I don't know, on the other side of the world, and you have to catch your plane, you have to do hotels. There's a lot of costs that have to be made up front. Um, you want to be sure that people are going to pay. So what always happens with those professional companies, people need to be paid up front. And I think as a starting artist, that's something you should consider doing as well. And if it's not the full amount, just ask for like 50% up front, just to know that you're sure money will be there and that your costs will be covered, because you don't want to be screwed at all. And in case of handling, yeah, just as any other company does it, right? Like send your invoice up front. Hopefully they'll pay it up front. Send reminders if they don't. Um, that's about it. Question number 3: who organizes your staying and transport, etc.? Who pays for that? Well, for a touring artist who has to stay in hotels and who needs transport from the airport to the hotel and to the club, um, if you have an agency, a bookings agency, those people will probably arrange those things in most cases. Sometimes hotels and flights can be arranged by the event promoter, but it depends. Like in most cases, I would say it's the booking agent, because they know that your preferences, they know your flight preferences, your travel preferences, as in what type of hotels you like, what type of flights you like early in the morning or late in the afternoon or whatever. So I would recommend the agency to do it, but it depends. Like event promoters can do it as well. How do you handle sound checks, music, USB not working? Do you have a process for that? Backups? Yeah, you can always travel with an extra set of USBs, just to be sure that if one gets broken, you have a new set in your bag. So that's something I would definitely recommend. And with sound checks, like just make sure you have the time in between when you arrive and your gig, just that you have the time to do the sound check. How do you know when to open a business entity in your country to receive the money? This is actually hard to answer because that really depends per country. In the Netherlands, I would say you really have to make thousands of euros a year. I believe in the Netherlands there's like a bar set that above 2,000 euros on taxes you have. It might be smart to start doing it as a company, but as I said, it really depends per country. This is more a question you should ask your accountant or somebody who knows about the tax system in your country. Do clubs and festivals require you to have a business entity? Not always. As the bigger you get and the bigger the clubs get and the more professional the clubs get, they probably want you to have an entity. But as a starting artist, I wouldn't worry about this too much. But the bigger you get, the more important it becomes, to be honest. And the more interesting, actually, because you can also deduct the costs, right? So it becomes interesting from that side as well. And meanwhile, I see people in the chat coming in as well. What's up, Rave? What's up, Yop? What's up, Melodramatic? Good to see you here again. You might be scared because you just see me. Jay and Ralph are still on a holiday, so it's just me. And we're just doing a lot of questions today. I'm answering the questions from the Discord first, and then if there are any other questions left in the chat, I might take those too. So feel free to ramble in the chat, to interact, to ask whatever you want. I'm all yours for the next, 35 minutes left. Let's see. What happens when things like Corona happen? You basically lose all of your revenue. How do you recover from that? Yeah, that was the biggest struggle for most artists who make their income from music. They basically lost all their revenue within a heartbeat. How do you recover from that? You kind of don't. In the Netherlands, there was luckily a system where most people got money from the government, but obviously not all the money you made. So how do you recover? Not really. It's something no one can predict. So you just have to go with the flow with that one. What happens when you're on tour and are sick? Do you lose reputation if you can't attend the event? If you're sick, man. Like, you're human. You have a body. You're not immune to anything. You can be sick. Shit happens, especially on tour. Like if you're in foreign countries, if you're eating different food, if you're going from hot areas to cold areas, like your body has to deal with a lot of things while you're not while you might not be aware of it. Like your body is trying to adapt all the time, and that takes a lot of energy. So yeah, you can get sick. Do you lose reputation? I wouldn't worry about that. If people don't understand that you're sick and that you're human and that you sometimes have to make a decision for yourself, that's on them. You have to take care of yourself. If somebody's super sick, they don't go to work as well. So you should consider it the same way, I would say. How do you manage to get visuals on the LED screens, and how to be happy with visual production if you don't have a team like James Hype? Well, first of all, if you don't have a team like James Hype, you should not expect the same quality and the same level of visuals. You can create visuals up front, which are like more general, that fit all of the things you do, but are not necessarily timed on the music that you play. But you could create those things and have them made up front, and you can just give them to somebody in the club. Obviously, there should be screens in the club, and there should be somebody who understands the LED screens. But if you just have a USB stick where the visuals are on, and you can give them to the sound guy or to the LED guy or whoever that person is, that's about it. Like, just have visuals create for yourself, which is like an infinite loop of like 2 hours in your branding, in your style. It might just not be timed on the music, just as James Hype has. But again, consider your point where you are, and yeah, don't expect too much from it. Oh shit, Melodramatic's coming in again with a gift of $20. What's up, man? Thanks again. I appreciate it. We actually still struggle with YouTube to actually get the money out of the system. Like the amount of forms we have to fill in is insane. But aside from that, we appreciate you guys donating. Don't feel obligated at all, but we really appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you don't have a touring manager or a booking assistant, how do you research the market for clubs, festivals where you'd be a good fit? We have internet, ChatGPT, but do you know some proven better ways? To be honest, it's all the things you mentioned. Like, there's internet, there's ChatGPT you can use. In the end, you should do some work yourself as well. You should just do some research yourself. Go on Instagram, check the accounts of the clubs, see if you think it might be a fit. Maybe ask people or like interact, engage with the post and see if it could be a good fit. But all the stuff you mentioned, plus doing some stuff yourself as well. Let's go to another question from Greymax, who's also in the chat, right? Yeah, Greymax is in the chat. What's up? It's a long one as well. Hello, guys. It's great having you back after your first break. First of all, thank you for what you're doing with artist coaching. Well, I appreciate you. Thanks for saying that. My first question. When we get a consistent support from a store, for example, Beatport, through features, monthly picks for the best tracks, and appearances on the top 100 charts, is it a smart choice to invest more of all resources into promoting it as one of your main platforms, while you don't ignore other music platforms? And it's a sign that you are on the right path in a certain genre because you are getting extra visibility from a big store like Beatport. Yes, that might be a smart tactic, like building a relationship. Again, like, it goes back to those relationships. The music industry is a people's industry. And in the music industry, you want to be building relationship and utilizing the relationships. So if you manage to build a relationship with Beatport, someone at Beatport, and they are backing you, they're supporting you, sure, you can add some extra resources there in order to build some more reach there. But don't put all your eggs into one basket, I would say. Like, also maybe be aware of the other platforms. But if one is working, like, sure, double down on it. It completely makes sense. Second question. When a big label like Revealed rejects one of your demos, but later adds it to one of their playlists on Spotify and Deezer, for example, Is it a sign they maybe see potential in you for future and that releasing for them will happen eventually, so they support you in that way? Or is it simply has meaning than that? Well, yes, it could be. Like I'm not necessarily, I can't look into their mind, but it would make sense. Like sometimes a label receives music which might not fit the label, but which they do like, right? So um, I think what you said could be right, as in if it might not fit the label, but they might be able to keep an eye on you in the future, and they might like what you're doing, so they're interested, they're keeping you in the scope. Uh, but that track wasn't the one, so just keep trying. And I think that a lot of people forget about it as well. Like even when you are signed and revealed, it's not a proof that the next one will be signed as well. Because eventually it's still about the music, like I've sent numerous amounts of tracks to revealed back then, and most of them got declined. And yes, I believe five or something of them got signed, but most of them got denied, especially the ones that I thought this is a revealed track, especially those. It's weird how that works, but it's always the ones that you didn't necessarily expect to be signed. Those are the ones that are going to be signed. So it's very helpful if they keep an eye on you and if they support you on their playlist. That's a good sign. But just keep sending your music and let them know what you're working on. That's all you can do for now. I see Josh in the chat as well. Like maybe he can elaborate on it as well. But not every track gets signed once you get signed at a label. Hey, quick break. If you're an artist who's serious about growing his career, but you feel stuck and you don't know what to do, you feel overwhelmed, that's exactly what we help you with at Artist Coaching. At Artist Coaching, we offer one-on-one personal coaching for DJs and music producers who want to turn their passion into a sustainable career. Whether you're struggling with finishing your music, building your brand, or just figuring out how to stand out, we've been there and we can help. If that sounds like you, head over to artistcoaching.nl and book your free intake call so we can check where you're at in your career and see if we can help you. All right, back to the episode. Oh, here's actually a question from Josh in the Discord. I'm thinking to set up a boiler room style set at a local venue to record a live set and create some content for socials and tease some ideas. Curious to know your thoughts and if it's worth going through the effort and how you would approach this. This is a great idea. You can actually see these things happen all over TikTok and stuff, like those living room sets, or as Mero did it in a snack bar, for example. I think this is the result of DJs struggling to get gigs these days. Like they're just going to create them themselves. And it's a good way to present yourself as an artist. It's a good way to create content. I wouldn't make it too complicated, to be honest. Like keep it small, invite your friends, just have a small group of 10, 20 people, buy some beer, which is not that expensive, set up the DJ set with some cameras, have somebody film something, and that's about it. Like just try to have a great night and try to get that content from it. I wouldn't make it too big at start. Like if you notice that this thing could become bigger and bigger, and maybe you can even start selling tickets for it, and you got your own show, that's all good. But start small. Start with your group of friends. Start at a place which you know somebody and don't have to pay for the venue. Like start small. That's what I would recommend with this. Yeah, backyard could be fun, like throwing a barbecue with your friends. And that might be the first setting, throw in what's the name of the dog you had as well? Like throw in him as well, like that works. Let's grab some water. It's 30 degrees here, man. Like I'm sweating as hell. Question from Israel Carter. What's the best thing you have learned from another producer in the studio and then applied it to your own production skills? And which producer impressed you the most with the way that they work and make music? Good question. There's nothing coming up, to be honest. Like there's not a single personal moment that I would say like, oh, this is something that really impacted everything. it's more like the combination of things. Um, I think the one that impressed me the most was, I think that was Hardwell, because I still remember the way how we thought about music was very refreshing to me, because I started to think about music in a very complicated way. Because I started to develop as a producer, I started to think of it more technically, and it had to become more difficult, more technical. Like, yeah, that was the only thing I was really thinking about, while he was really thinking about, like, how can I make this simple? How can I make this effective and make it interesting for the audience? And the more complicated I made my music, the more distance I created with the audience, to be honest. And his mindset was like, I want to make music that hits with the crowd. And most of the times that's just more simple, in lack of terms, as in his music is not simple, it's super technical, but there's not a lot of elements in there. All the elements that he uses have a reason to be there, are impactful. So his mindset of making music has definitely impacted my production skills, to be honest. Question from Future. Hello guys, I'd love to hear your best guess on what level an artist needs to reach to comfortably live from music alone, including typical show sizes, fees, and streaming numbers. I've heard of DJs with lots of support and good releases who still had to turn to ghost production to pay the bills. So, what would you estimate are the minimum touring and streaming numbers it really takes to make a living? There's not one question to this answer, because there can be 1,000 ways to build a career. But I can give you a few, just to give you an idea of when you actually might be able to make a living from music. One is the thing I just mentioned, where an artist builds his or her profile themselves, like on socials and on Spotify, and manages to get a lot of streams on streaming services. And when I say a lot, I mean millions. And that person also releases the music themselves in most cases, so that they also own 100% of the revenue. Then, after a while, when multiple tracks have millions of streams, that's when you might get some income from streaming, where it might become interesting to maybe work a day less, for example. And then when gigs come from that, that's when the tipping point might come in. Because if you charge 2K for a gig in the start, when you have momentum, and do one or maybe two a month, and then have the income of the streaming, that's where you get to 2, 3, maybe even 4K a month, and that's an income for most people. So um, that's a way to do it. You can go full content and just build the whole profile through content, and then go for the gigs. So at that point, the only real way to make money is the gigs. It's a different way, but it could work as well. Um, yeah, as I said, there's many ways to do this, but in general, there's not a clear black and white moment where you say, now I'm going to stop instantly. Like in most cases, it's a gradually growth, where you start with 500 a month from music, then you go to 1,000, then you go to 2,000, and then at some point you could say, hey, I'm at the point where I'm able to leave my job, or where I'm able to stop working one day less. And it's a transition. It's not like I quit here and I go all in. Like it's a slow, gradual transition, and where that transition comes from could be streaming, could be gigs, could be anything else, like ghost production, co-production. But it is an income that slowly starts growing until a point where you feel like it's enough to actually ditch your job. Good question though, because I know that a lot of producers struggle with this question, and to be honest, it is hard to make a living as an artist. This is actually what we help artists with in the whole coaching program, and maybe I know a few of them are in the chat right now, but maybe they can vouch for it as well. Like this is a process of years. You know, it's probably not going to happen within months. It's going to take at least 1 to 2 years to build some momentum. And then once you have that momentum, you can start building it and like leveraging it. But in most cases, I must say it takes years to build an artist profile, not months, not weeks, years. And that's something to realize when you're in the middle of this process, which most of you are probably. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So realize that. There's a question from Asenzo. Hey guys, I'm looking forward to today's stream. I'm an ex-producer looking to get back into the game. It sounds like you're an ex-addict. It's fun. I'm an ex-producer looking to get back into the game. Did okay for myself when it comes to streams and labels. I'm proud of it. I stopped because I had 2 kids and I have had that fire in my stomach again to get back into it. I've been making some stuff and it felt great, but I had a session where I went back into a project to finish some things and it went very badly. How do you not beat yourself up about a bad session and find that spark for that project again? Well, sometimes the project just isn't the one, and you just have to cut your darlings and let it go. Um, but sometimes it helps to start from scratch again and to just delete everything except for the things you really like in that project and start from scratch again and see if that helps. But how do you not beat yourself up? Don't expect to deliver 100% of the time. Nobody is able to do that. Like even the best artists in the world have shitty days in the studio. And I actually just saw a story from Steve Angelo, who posted about this as well, where he said like when I've been in the studio all day, I go to bed with the thoughts of maybe that kick should be louder, or maybe that vocal should be tweaked, or all these thoughts that you might have as a producer as well. And he also mentioned like I've been doing this for many years, and I still have these thoughts. Like as a producer, you will struggle with perfectionism. You will struggle with trying to get the most out of it. But sometimes it's not gonna happen. Sometimes it's just not gonna work, and that's okay as long it's not 100% of the time, right? As long as it's maybe 50% of the time or 70 or 80% of the time you're doing a great job and 20% sucks. Like you can't perform always, you can't be on always, so don't expect yourself to be on all the time. Question from Job. Love the tip from last episode about the 30-minute timer Jay was talking about. What do you think? What do you think it would also help when you're in a creative block or are stuck in a project? Do you have any other tips? Yes, I do. Going out for a walk is a great way to ditch that creative block because when you go out for a walk, you just reset your brain. Could be like 30 minutes to an hour, and then go back and see if that helped. What could also work is trying to find your personal trigger. And let me explain what I mean with that. For me, I noticed along the time that if I watched an after movie of a festival, or if I watched a documentary from, for example, Swedish House Mafia, after watching that or watching it for a few minutes, it just motivated me and it sparked my creativity in some kind of way. And I do believe we all have these triggers in us. It's different for everybody. So for me, it was after movies and documentaries. But for some people, it might be like watching DJ sets from Tomorrowland Main Stage, or I don't know what it could be for you. But try to figure out what the pattern is, what the trigger is that sparks your creativity. Because once you figure out what that is, you can actually turn it on and off whenever you want. So that's the biggest thing you can use in case of a creative block. And if that doesn't work, try to go outside, have a walk, not wearing earphones or listening to podcasts, whatever. Just you and your mind. That could also help as well. A question from Tejas. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I have a quick and simple question. How can I start making some money in the early stages? I think I'm a decent producer, but I haven't released any music so far. I'm a great sound designing, so maybe I'm considering to start making a YouTube channel and remaking some popular tracks and sell preset banks. That's a great idea. You know, like if you have built a skill, and in this case, it could be sound designing or it could be mixing or mastering, then that's something you can already make money from. You could sell that to other producers who lack that skill by mixing their songs or doing sound design for them. You can sell tutorials, as you mentioned. You can sell preset banks. Like you can build a YouTube channel where you explain how all these things work. Essentially, sharing knowledge with people and adding value to other people's lives will eventually draw them into you and will make them pay for whatever you do. So making money in the early stages, I would leverage your skill. And if your skill is at a great level, then you can leverage that skill and ask money for it. So it's a great place to start. Aside from that, I would recommend you to start releasing your music, because if the music's not out there, nothing's going to happen. No money will be made, no fan base will be built, nobody even knows that you exist. So just start putting out your music, and that can also be a great start of your career. Question from Gerard Francis. A big DJ producer asked me to send him stems to collab on a track of mine that he really liked. I sent him everything almost a month ago and he hasn't downloaded yet. Do you think he might have lost interest or is just busy? Could be a thousand things, to be honest, but this happens more. Like, those people are busy. Your project is not the only project in their mind in most cases. So the only real thing you can do is just follow up with him or her and say, hey, I'm not sure if you've seen, but yeah, here's the pack. And I hope we can still do this collaboration. So just try to keep following up without being too pushy. But if it's already been a month, you can definitely send a reminder and say, hey, don't forget about me. But yeah, in most cases, those guys are busy. So yeah, don't worry about it too much. And if they've lost interest, then yeah, could happen, like it's not something you can control. So would be shitty, but could happen. Okay. I actually see, like we've talked about this last time as well, like that 30-minute hack that Jay talked about last time, and the challenge that we did in the artist coaching community a few months back. It benefited a lot of people. Like, it benefited people into overcoming perfectionism. It benefited people into sitting down and actually performing. So not overthinking things, but just putting out the creativity and making a track from scratch. It benefited a lot of producers in a lot of ways. So if you struggle with time, if you struggle with creativity, I would strongly recommend you to make music for a set amount of time each day. And Melodramatic does it for like 15 minutes. Other people do it for 30 minutes. Set a small amount of time every day and just sit down, make some melodies, do whatever you want, but give yourself a time frame to work in, and add some pressure to the whole thing. Because for most creative people, pressure helps. Having a deadline helps. So if you haven't done it yet, do it now. I'm actually, like last time we also mentioned this, but I think we're going to rerun this whole challenge again because it was so successful. So if you're in the Discord, make sure to keep an eye on that because it might come back in the next few weeks or months. Something also wanted to address: who in the chat right now is coming to Amsterdam Dance Event this year? Because we're about 2 months away from the event. And I know that August is always the month where people start talking about Amsterdam Dance Event. I also got the first questions from people like, hey, are you throwing an event again? So I'm just wondering, like, who's coming? I see, Gerard Francis is coming to ADE. Melodramatic is planning to come to ADE. That will be fun, man. We have a drink. The music channel is coming to ADE. Anyone else in the chat coming to ADE this year? Because just for those who are watching right now and listening to this podcast right now, who've managed to make it for like 50 minutes in and listening to my voice, we are planning to do an event again, as always. It's going to be on a Friday, the 24th of October, from 12 to 3 in the afternoon. It's going to be some sort of a lunch again with some extra new elements in there. Tickets will be available soon. I will let you guys know when they're available. Just know this: if you're in the Discord, there will be a discount code there for people in the Discord. So if you are planning to come to ADE, and if you're not in the Discord yet, make sure to go there, because that's the only place where the discount code will be shared. So that's something I wanted to announce. Yeah, that's going to be fun, Gerard. Like, it's going to be fun to meet all those people. And to be honest, ADE is always one of my favorite moments of the year, because as you mentioned, you actually finally get to meet all those people you've been talking to all year, but never really met in person. Could be people from the community, could be clients that are across the world. So it's always a fun time for me to build relationships and actually meet people, which I prefer. Like, I like screens, but I prefer to meet people in real time, to be honest. Let's see, is there anything else, any other questions you guys have for me? Otherwise, I'll pick them from the chat, because I've done all of the questions in the Discord, I believe. Maybe I should do this. Yeah, I think, this was interesting. I'll share my screen and we have a clip of the week. Oh, wait, I have to do the jingle, of course. We have a jingle for this.
Clip of the week.
Every week, we pick a clip of the week, a clip that we've spotted on the internet or somebody else sent to us, something that sparked our interest and is an interesting topic to talk about. And this week, we have a clip of the week as well. And it's about having a marketing plan up front of the release, which I think is interesting. He has an interesting take. Honestly, I don't know who the guy is, but he has an interesting take. So let's see what he has to say.
Your rollout strategy if you're still undiscovered. A lot of artists always ask me, hey, I have a new single coming out. What's the best rollout strategy? And then when I look at their Spotify numbers and YouTube numbers, they don't have a fan base at all. So I always have to tell them, it really doesn't make sense for you to have a rollout strategy when you're undiscovered, because no one's going to wait 2 weeks or a month to listen to your song, especially when they don't know who you are and have never listened to any of your previous music. So if you're an artist and you want to get some exposure and get some momentum going, the best thing you can do is actually promote music that's already out. Because if you take a song that's already out and you promote that, you're giving people instant gratification and they're more likely to listen to it. Plus, if you promote something that's already out and you're able to build some traction with the current singles, you have a lot more momentum when you come out with a new single. So that new single is going to get more views if you're promoting something that's already out. So with that being said, as an artist, don't worry about a rollout strategy, especially if you're still undiscovered. Promote something that's out, even if it's old, because if you're undiscovered, remember, all your music is new. So take the music that you already posted and promote that instead.
He has a very valid point there. To be honest, as I said again, like I don't know the guy, but he has a valid point. As in, it's good to realize that we're talking about the promoting and the marketing process before the release. That's what he's talking about, and not the promotion and the marketing after the release, because that's two different things. To be honest, he's talking about the promotion upfront of the release, and it doesn't make sense to do those things if you don't have an audience yet, because the only real way to hype up your audience is, you need to have an audience, right? So I think we also live in a time where people want things now, not tomorrow, not yesterday. We want things now. So if you promote something, you better make sure that it's already available. And promoting the things that are already out just makes more sense. So as a starting artist with no fan base, it makes more sense to focus on the promotion process after the release, when it's actually out and when people can actually listen to it, than focusing on the promotion plan before the release. Because if there's no fan base at all, it just doesn't make sense to promote it then, because nobody can listen to it. Nobody's really interested to it. Focus all of your time on reaching people and promoting your music once it's out there. And even with the songs that are already performing well, for example, double down on those. Like, if people have listened to one song of yours a lot more than all the others, double down on that song, because somehow, somewhere, there is something in that song that resonates with people, and that's all the information you need. So you can see all the releases that you do as some kind of test and just see like, hey, I've made 10 songs and I have no clue what works or what doesn't. I'll just put them out, all of them, see which ones perform the better, and the ones that perform best, those are the ones you'll double down on and maybe run some ads on or like do those things. But yeah, as a starting artist, focusing on promoting your music before it's released and out there just doesn't make sense. And by the way, thanks, Mikey. On congratulations with the 1K subscribers. We're very happy with that, and all of you guys were responsible for that. If you are in the live chat and if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please do. Please help us because we want to build that audience, and you're helping us enormously with that. Let's see. I'm interested in is it still worth pushing hard on my last release? Let's see. I'm interested. Mikey Foden says I'm interested in that. I realized today that my last official release was 6 months, 1 week ago. Sure, why not? Like if it's out and if you haven't promoted it properly yet, if you haven't put it under people's attention yet, then yes, sure, it makes sense to push it by now and see if people like it, yes or no. That's it for now, I would say. Like, I want to remind you all to join the Discord because there will be live career audits very soon as well, where we take a look at someone's career, like look at his Instagram, TikTok, listen to the music, and see what we can get from that. We will also do live feedback sessions in the future. Don't forget about that ADE discount that will be available there somewhere this month. And don't forget to check out artistcoaching.nl because that's where all of our coaching programs are. And if you are stuck in your career as an artist and if you feel like you need somebody who's more experienced and who knows what he's talking about, once you need a person like that to help you to build your career, maybe a coaching program would fit for you. So check out artistcoaching.nl. Might be helpful. And I guess that's it for now. Like it's been an hour of me talking. My voice is kind of done. Ralph and Jay will be back next week because now the holiday season is really behind us. So they will be back. Jay, I'm not sure to be honest, but Ralph will definitely be back. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be the three of us again. Looking forward to that. Until then, I really want to thank you, all the guys in the chat, because I see all of the names coming back each week, and you don't realize how much it means to see all those people taking the time to do this with us. So thanks for that. I will be back next week, and until that, I will enjoy the pizza session that we have tonight with all the clients coming over, enjoying some pizza. It's going to be fun. So thanks all for joining, and hope to see you all back in the stream next week. Bye bye.